Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to have a radar for identifying exactly where you're vulnerable? They don't need much time, they don't ask direct questions, but somehow they know which button to push to destabilize you. And the most intriguing thing is, you end up wondering if the problem is with you, if it's something you did, or worse, if it's something about who you are. The truth is that toxic people possess an almost instinctive ability to detect insecurity in others, and they use this as a gateway to drain your energy, control your choices, and occupy a space that should be yours alone. But here's the good news. If they can identify their weaknesses, you too can learn to shield them, not through masks or pretense, but by cultivating something far more powerful, genuine self-control and clear boundaries. Because ultimately, the problem isn't insecurity. It's allowing it to become an open invitation for those who don't deserve to be around. In this content, you'll discover exactly how this mechanism works and, more importantly, how to protect yourself from it without losing your essence, your peace, or your sanity. Prepare yourself for a journey that goes beyond identifying the villain of the story. You will learn practical strategies, based on ancient wisdom and real-life experiences, that will transform the way you relate to difficult people. And who knows, in the end, you might realize that the true power has always been in your hands. You just needed to learn how to use it. 1. Self-control as the basis of freedom. You know that feeling that you need to make the other person understand your point of view to finally have peace? Well, that mental trap is one of the biggest reasons we're stuck in toxic cycles. Insecurity whispers in our ear that if we can convince the other person, if we can make them see how right we are, we'll finally have control of the situation. But the stark truth is this: you will never control how others behave. Never. And trying to do so is like trying to hold water with your hands open. The more you squeeze, the more escapes. True self-control lies not in dominating the actions of others, but in governing your own reactions and choices. Toxic people have a keen sense for identifying those who haven't yet learned this lesson. They notice when you react impulsively, when your emotions are running high, when a simple comment can throw you off balance. And that's precisely where they settle in, taking root in spaces lacking solid boundaries. It's like leaving your front door wide open and complaining that people are entering without permission. Think of someone who has left you completely emotionally exhausted. Now, reflect honestly. How many times have you tried to change that person? How many conversations, explanations, attempts to make them understand? And the result? Probably you only wore yourself out more. Stoic philosophy teaches us something revolutionary. Freedom begins when you accept that you can only change yourself. When you stop wasting energy trying to reform the other person and invest that same energy in strengthening your own limits, everything changes. It's not magic, it's intelligent strategy. 2. Conscious forgiveness without reconciliation. Now, let's talk about one of the most distorted concepts when it comes to dealing with toxic people: forgiveness. Popular culture has sold the idea that forgiving means making peace, turning the page as if nothing happened, and blindly trusting again. That's not forgiveness, it's emotional amnesia. And worse, it's a trap that keeps you stuck in relationships that should have ended a long time ago. Insecurity loves this confusion because it makes you believe that if you don't forgive the right way, with reconciliation and everything else, you're resentful, vengeful, or incapable of moving on. Genuine forgiveness is an act of self-preservation, not reconciliation. It's about looking at the wound, acknowledging the pain it caused, extracting the lesson it brought, and consciously deciding not to carry that weight anymore. But this doesn't mean reopening the doors. You can forgive someone who betrayed you and still never share anything intimate with that person again. You can forgive someone who disrespected you and, at the same time, maintain a safe distance. Forgiveness frees you from resentment, but it doesn't obligate you to hand over the key to your life again to someone who has already proven they don't know how to take care of it. Think of it this way. A scar is proof that you've healed, but it's also a reminder of what happened. It doesn't hurt anymore, but it's there, visible, protecting you from repeating the same mistake. When you forgive without reconciling, you're creating that scar. You're telling the universe and yourself that you've learned the lesson, that you've grown from the experience, but that you're no longer the same person who allowed it. And here's the crucial point. You don't need to announce this forgiveness, you don't need to say anything to anyone. True forgiveness happens silently, within you, and manifests in your peace, not in your availability to the person who hurt you. 3. Establishing firm and subtle boundaries. If there's one word that should be taught from an early age, that word is no. But not a no shouted, filled with guilt or aggression. We're talking about a serene, firm no, without the need for lengthy justifications. The big issue is that many people confuse setting boundaries with being rude, selfish, or cold. And insecurity loves to fuel this confusion, because as long as you believe it, you remain a hostage to the demands of others. You become that person who says yes when they wanted to say no, who answers calls when they needed silence, who overloads themselves so as not to disappoint anyone, except themselves. Setting boundaries isn't about building insurmountable walls around your life. It's about establishing healthy boundaries that protect your energy, your time, and your emotional well-being. Think of boundaries like a garden fence. It doesn't prevent people from seeing the flowers, but it makes it clear how far they can go without trampling on what you cultivate with such care. And here's the secret. You don't need to explain your boundaries in detail. You don't need to convince anyone that they are valid. Just communicate them clearly and maintain them consistently. For example, if someone calls you every night just to vent, draining your energy without ever asking how you are, you don't need to dramatically cut them out of your life. You can simply say, "I can't talk today, is that okay?" And that's it. No guilt, no long justification, no need to explain yourself. If the person respects that, great. If they insist, complain, or try to make you feel bad, you already have valuable information. They don't respect your boundaries. And then, the choice of whether or not to maintain that connection becomes much clearer. Boundaries are the thermometer that shows who really cares about you and who only wants what you can offer. For intelligent humor as a tool for disarmament. There's one thing toxic people love: conflict. They feed on tension, drama, and your explosive reactions. It's as if every time you lose your temper, yell, or get worked up, they gain points in an invisible game. And insecurity makes you a perfect target for this kind of provocation, because when you don't fully trust yourself, any malicious comment becomes a direct stab in the back. You react emotionally, justify yourself, try to defend yourself, and in doing so, you give all your power to someone who doesn't deserve even 5 minutes of your attention. Now, imagine that instead of playing that game, you simply change the rules. Someone makes a venomous criticism, and you respond with a smile and a clever joke. It's not aggressive sarcasm. It's not humiliation. It's strategic lightness. Humor, when used well, is like throwing a bucket of cold water on a bonfire that was about to ignite everything. The person expected to see you react, defend yourself, lose control. But you, with self-control and a dose of emotional intelligence, simply smile and deflect. And you know what happens? The person is left speechless. They lose their composure, and you keep your peace intact. A practical example. Imagine someone comments on your messy desk at work, trying to ridicule you. Instead of justifying yourself or retaliating angrily, you could respond with something like, "Ah, it's creative chaos in action. Einstein was messy too, so I'm on the right track." Simple, light, and effective. You didn't attack, you didn't desperately defend yourself, but you made it clear that it doesn't affect you. Intelligent humor is a powerful tool because it shows that you are in control of the situation and your emotions. And more importantly, it shows that you chose not to play their game. 5. Refusal to play the game of emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is one of the favorite weapons of those with a toxic personality. And it works because it plays on exactly what makes us most vulnerable. The fear of rejection, the fear of not being loved, the fear of doing something wrong. Phrases like, "If you really loved me, you would do this for me," or "You don't even care about me anymore," are not declarations of affection. They are emotional bait. And when you bite the bait, trying to prove otherwise to justify your love or loyalty, you've already fallen into the trap. Insecurity is the perfect fuel for this type of manipulation because it makes you doubt yourself even before questioning the other person. The most effective strategy against emotional manipulation is surprisingly simple. Don't play the game. When someone tries to manipulate you, they expect a specific reaction, usually that you defend yourself, justify yourself, or give in to emotional demands. But what if you simply do none of that? What if, Faced with an empty accusation, you just say, "You're right," and change the subject. Sounds strange, but it works like magic. Because when you don't react as expected, the manipulator loses their script. They no longer know what to do, and you, for the first time, feel in control. Not of the situation, but of yourself. Look, this isn't about passivity or agreeing with absurdities. It's pure strategy. It's about recognizing that some battles aren't worth fighting, that some conversations are just traps disguised as dialogue. You don't need to convince anyone of your intentions, your character, or your affection. Those who truly know and respect you won't use these cheap tactics. And those who do, well, that person is showing you exactly who they are. Refusing the emotional game is about reclaiming your power of choice and silently declaring that you're no longer available for that kind of dynamic. 6. Separation without guilt. Not every relationship can be fixed. And you know what? That's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. But insecurity loves to transform conscious distancing into destructive guilt. It whispers in your ear, "What if you're being selfish? What if you're exaggerating? What if, deep down, the problem is you?" And then you're stuck, sustaining bonds that only drain your energy, carrying weight that was never yours to carry. The truth is, distancing yourself from someone toxic isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. It's you recognizing that you deserve peace, respect, and healthy relationships. Walking away isn't always that dramatic movie scene, with doors slamming and fiery declarations. Sometimes, it's just a silent thought that changes everything. "I'm not going to wear myself out with this anymore." And then you start to let go. You stop chasing, you stop demanding change, you stop trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You respond less, get less involved, care less. And from the outside, nobody notices much. But inside you, it's a revolution. The air becomes lighter, the mind clearer, and you can finally breathe without feeling that weight on your chest. Conscious distancing is an act of self-love, not coldness. It's you saying that your mental health is worth more than any forced relationship. And here's something important. You don't need to announce your departure. You don't need to give a farewell speech. Just stop staying. Because when you truly understand the value of your presence, you realize that offering it to someone who doesn't know how to appreciate it is a waste. And you no longer have the time or energy to waste. Forgiveness may have happened in the past, but distancing yourself is what ensures you won't get hurt again. And that's not cowardice, it's wisdom. 7. Strategic silence instead of exposure. There's something curious about repeatedly talking about those who hurt us. It seems like we're venting, relieving the burden, seeking validation. But in practice, we're doing the exact opposite. Every time you mention the toxic person, comment on their behavior, vent to others about what they did, you're giving them a platform. You're keeping that person occupying mental and emotional space, even when they're not present. It's like watering a dead plant. You're only prolonging the agony. And insecurity loves this cycle because it makes you believe that talking about the problem is the same as solving it. Conscious silence is one of the most powerful and underestimated tools when it comes to dealing with toxic people. It's not the silence of fear, passivity, or suppression. It's the strategic silence of someone who has decided that that person no longer deserves space in their conversation, thoughts, or daily energy. When someone tries to bring up the toxic person, you change the subject. When asked, you answer, "I prefer to focus on something else." Simple as that. No drama, no long explanations, just redirected focus to what really matters. And do you know what happens when you stop feeding the issue? That person's presence begins to dissipate. They cease to have power over you. Because the real poison isn't just in what the person did. It's in how many times you relive it by telling and retelling the story. Each narrative is a new dose of toxicity entering your system. Silence is detoxification. It's you choosing not to turn your pain into someone else's entertainment, not to give ammunition to gossip, and above all, not to get trapped in a mental loop that only weakens you. Talk only to those who can truly help. Everything else? It's unnecessary noise. 8. Focus on purpose as protection. Want to know what irritates a toxic person the most? Seeing you grow, evolve, shine, without giving them the slightest attention. Because toxic people feed on drama, conflict, seeing you distracted and lost. They invent problems, create tension, pit people against each other, all to divert your focus from what really matters. And insecurity facilitates this distraction, because when you lack clarity about your goals and purposes, any distraction seems urgent. Any provocation throws you off balance. But when you are genuinely focused on your path, their game completely loses its meaning. Focus is an invisible armor. Imagine you're in the middle of an important project, something that challenges and motivates you. Someone comes along with a provocation, trying to drag you into an unnecessary conflict. And you, with self-control and clarity, simply reply, "I can't right now. I'm focused on a deliverable." And you go back to work, without justifying, without engaging in the game, without wasting time. At first, the person insists. After all, they're used to having your attention. But little by little, they realize it doesn't work anymore. And you keep moving forward, building, evolving, while they remain still, trying to understand what has changed. The true power of focus lies in creating a natural barrier against negative influences. When you know exactly what you want, what your priorities are, and where you're investing your energy, attempts to destabilize you simply ricochet. They become background noise, nothing more. And best of all, other people notice your attitude and start doing the same. Silence spreads, the drama loses its stage, and the environment around you transforms. Because focus isn't just about productivity. It's about protecting your peace and directing your life to where you truly want to go. And that no one can take away from you. 9. Conscious choice of companies. There's an old saying, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are." And as cliché as it may seem, this phrase carries a brutal truth. The people around you don't just influence your mood or your conversations. They shape your mindset, your choices, your boundaries, and even your self-perception. Living with toxic people is like swimming with an anchor tied to your ankle. You try hard, you give your best, but you never get anywhere. And worse, you start to believe that the problem is you, that you're not capable, that you don't deserve more. Insecurity flourishes in this type of environment because it feeds on constant criticism, unfair comparisons, and a lack of genuine support. Now think about the opposite. Remember that person who, in a simple conversation, made you feel capable, motivated, seen? The one who celebrated your achievement as if it were their own, who encouraged you to try again when you were giving up. That's the kind of company that transforms lives. They aren't perfect people, they aren't professional motivators disguised as friends. They are simply genuine people who want to see you grow as much as they want to grow themselves. And when you actively seek out this kind of relationship, everything changes. Your choices become clearer, your goals more tangible, and your confidence naturally strengthens. The truth is, trading quantity for quality in relationships is one of the most valuable investments you can make. It's pointless to have 50 contacts on your phone if none of them truly know you or care about what you're going through. It's far more valuable to have 2 or 3 people who are truly there for you, in good times and bad, than a multitude of superficial connections that disappear when you need them most. And here's the crucial point. Be the kind of person the world needs most. The kind who heals, not hurts. The kind who lifts up, not tears down. Because healthy relationships are a two-way street, and you deserve to be surrounded by good people just as much as you deserve to be that good person for others. We've reached the end of this journey, but in reality, this is just the beginning. Because now you have the tools, you have the knowledge, you have the clarity. But what are you going to do with all of this? Will you continue to allow toxic people to drain your energy, occupy your mental space, and determine the course of your life? Or will you start today to set boundaries, cultivate self-control, and protect what is most valuable to you, your peace? The choice has always been yours, and it always will be. Maybe you'll lose some people in this process. And you know what? That's okay. Because those who walk away when you start respecting yourself never offered love. They offered control. And when you take that control out of the wrong hands, you recover something no one can take from you, your freedom. Silence ceases to frighten you. Loneliness becomes clarity. And life fits inside you again the way it always should have. Now answer me this. Are you ready to put these strategies into practice? Are you ready to choose yourself, your mental health, your inner peace? If the answer is yes, then don't just stay in theory. Start today. Set a boundary you've been putting off. Practice strategic silence. Focus on your purpose. And above all, remember, you don't need to change the other person. You need to protect yourself. And when you do that, everything changes. If this content resonated with you, if you identified with something you needed to hear, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's much more to come. Practical strategies, profound reflections, and a community of people who, like you, are seeking to live with more serenity, wisdom, and inner strength. Your journey deserves this support, and you deserve to live in peace.